Oh, hello everyone. Now today I'm gonna tell you about the Latin language, and I'm gonna talk about some informations about Latin, and I want to encourage people. I want to encourage you about preserving Latin language. And let's move on to the presentation. Now, first of all, Latin alphabet is derived from Etruscan and Greek alphabets, which are very similar to Latin, as you will see next slides. Now this is an example of Etruscan alphabet. As you can see, and there are A, B, C, D, E letters are very similar to the Latin alphabet. We have O letter and, for example, K and L here. And this is the Greek language, Greek alphabet. As you may see, this also looks like the Latin alphabet, and it has very similarities with the Latin alphabet. And to come to the history of Latin, Latin language had various forms during the history. It had forms as Old Latin, Classical Latin, Vulgar Latin, Medieval Latin, Renaissance Latin, Early Modern Latin, and Modern Latin. The biggest effect on the European languages was caused by the Vulgar Latin, because the European languages, for example, the Romance languages, got their form from the Vulgar Latin. And Latin had big influence on English and the Romance languages, as I said before, and all Romance languages takes their information and sources from the Vulgar Latin. And Latin language has been the official language of Poland and Croatia until the 19th century. It's an important information to understand us, why the Latin language is so important, and how big its effects has been. This is the graphic of Romance languages in Europe. As you can see, Spanish and French was derived from the Romance languages, and Romance languages derived from the Vulgar Latin. And Latin first was born in Italy, in Latium. It's in the country in here. So and it has a really large effect on the east part of the Europe also. And in this graphic, we can easily see that the languages that derived from the Latin has a wide variety of use throughout the world. We can see English, Spanish, and French here. Also, we can include German. So, why the Latin language is so important? It is important. It is an important language because it, in the case of learning Latin, we will have large facilitate to assimilate the popular languages such as English and Spanish, as you see in the previous slides. And it is really important because, as you know, a lot of studies, actually most of the studies in the world are made in English or Spanish, or in the popular languages like that. So it is important for us to learn the basics of these languages, to assimilate the information and the sources of the learned words. And in order to read original documents of history, the Latin is important because, as you see in the previous slide, Latin has a big influence on Europe geography. So it means a large information was produced in the Europe during the history, and to assimilate this information and to investigate the original documents, we need to learn Latin. So, as you know, Latin is a dead language nowadays. Of course, it is used in some research in the universities, and it is used by the people who are keen on Latin and who make researches about Latin language. But in my opinion, it is very important to learn Latin to understand the real information and real spirit of the languages. So what should be done? The most important thing is make universities to encourage students to learn Latin, because universities are the centers of the information today, and we can promote the Latin by using universities. Of course, another way to promote Latin is publishing books in Latin, but I will come to that later. And the most thing is to create awareness on public about the influence of Latin to nowadays, because if we can tell people that how and why Latin is important, people will gradually start to feel more interest to the Latin. Yes, and to come to the publishing in Latin, nowadays there are some publishments are made, for example, of the popular books such as Hobbit, Treasure Island, Robinson Crusoe, Winnie the Pooh, and Harry Potter to the Latin. And these translations were made because to help the Latin learners from Latin speakers to practice their Latin, and of course another language means another way of thinking, so it will help us to think in Latin, to read the books in English, in Latin. And to conclude all, as I mentioned before, Latin is a very important language, and it is important for us to promote Latin language, to understand the real story and real spirit behind today's popular languages, and also in order to make real research about the history of Europe and naturally the history of today. So thanks for watching. I hope I'm able to make an interest on Latin on you.